double agent scholar exposing the Iranian regime's tactics in Sweden amid rising concerns over foreign. Yeah, Armin, do you recognize this guy?
No, but this story. Sounds fucking amazing. Tell me.
Just wait until you
Oh,
find out what his name is. Okay, okay, okay,
okay,
okay, okay.
okay, 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 okay.
Amid rising concerns over foreign influence in Western intellectual service circles, the person at the center of this controversy, Armin, his name is Rusbe Parsi.
Oh, wait, hold on.
And
Is
do you know
that
who his brother is?
is
Trita
it
Parsi.
Trita Parsi, the founder of NIAC? Is his brother?
Yes.
And this has been he has been a spy
No, no,
against
no,
the
no, no, no,
Iranian
no,
regime?
no, 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 no. We're not making that. We're not
Okay,
making that argument. I'm not making that claim. That's
okay,
defamatory.
okay, okay,
No, 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 no,
okay,
no, no,
okay,
no.
okay.
We just are interested in some of his connections and associations and potential influence. Okay. So, Rusbe Parsi, who's head of the Middle East program at the Swedish Institute for International Policy, which receives public taxpayer money, by the way, finds himself at the center of a controversy. Implicated in the Iranian Experts Initiative, which was directed by Iran's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Parsi is accused of participating in efforts to sway Western discourse in favor of the Iranian regime. Leaked documents reveal his attendance at secret meetings led by Iran's former foreign minister Javad Zarif, sparking intense debate around academic integrity and potential conflict of interest. Parsi defends his involvement as scholarly curiosity, stating to local Swedish news, quote, "It's about trying to read between the lines, to see what they hear, how they reason, and what could be behind the formulation." So basically, he's like saying, look, I'm not attending these meetings put on by this network called the Iranian Experts Initiative, and I'm not attending these meetings that are tied back to the Iranian foreign ministry because I'm with them. I'm doing it because as a scholar, I need to interface with them to understand how they think and how they analyze. Like that's how he's framing his participation.
Okay.
This scandal
I
raises
mean, makes
critical
sense.
Yeah, this scandal raises critical questions about the balance between intellectual engagement and susceptibility to state sponsored propaganda, prompting Swedish MP Nima Golam Alipur to demand accountability. He's saying, quote, such persons cannot and should not work for an organization that is funded by the Swedish state. This should have been looked into a long time ago. Parsi's case underscores the ongoing challenges of maintaining scholarly impartiality in a world fraught with global informational warfare. So, this case has been very, very controversial in Sweden. So basically, there was a leak of all this documentation and email exchanges that came out about this network. And this network is called the Iranian Experts Initiative. And this initiative was literally guided by Tehran and led by the former foreign minister Javad Zarif, according to these leaked documents that were exposed by the outlet Iran International. And, you know, I swear to God, Javad Zarif, I hate this man, but he's skilled at what he does.
Right.
In terms of like implementing soft power around the world, he does this in many different ways, and he's been damn successful at it. Javad Zarif, noted friend of U.S. Senator and former presidential candidate John Kerry, but that's a whole different story. Um,
He's
and
probably the most hated man in Iran right now.
do you want to explain a little bit more about who he is and kind of what his history is? I think that might give people some good context.
Well, Javad Zarif is like the most influential person in Iran. One of them when it comes after Khamenei himself, when it comes to Iran's foreign policy, and he's so-called reformist. Here, this is his picture. Just for people to know.
Yeah.
And he basically has managed to become very influential in Western countries' politics. He has a lot of people hired there to come and influence their politics. But the thing is that if there's one thing that the liberal-minded Iranian people agree with the hardliners, the pro-regime hardliners, is that everybody hates Zarif now. Okay, because Zarif is he's a reformist, so that's why the people who are anti-regime hate him, because they see him as a lapdog for Khamenei. But his job is to basically do the unpopular policies that the hardliners don't want to do. He's the one behind the scenes who designs them and takes the responsibility for them, so that the hardliners don't blame Khamenei for it. So the hardliners hate him as well. So basically, both the hardliners, the regime supporters, and anti-regime Iranians, they both hate him with a lot of passion. So at least like Khamenei has some support by some hardliners, right? Like the hardliners, but the reformers in Iran are the most hated group, because they get the hate from the hardliners and they get the hate from the anti-regime people at the same time. And the most hated of all reformers right now in Iran is Zarif.
Yeah.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
anyways, this academic at this think tank is someone who appears in Sweden as this independent expert on Iranian issues, has been seen as this like leading voice in foreign policy issues and in the Iranian space, and has been heavily criticized for a lot of narratives that ultimately benefit the regime. Now, this is noteworthy because this is the same trajectory that his brother, Trita Parsi, has implemented in the US. So, Trita Parsi founded an organization called the National Association for Iranian
Mm.
Community or whatever. No,
NIAC.
NIAC.
Or the
No, it's wrong. National Iranian American Council. Is that the actual acronym? Anyways, it's NIAC
Nas-
for short. Everyone just calls it NIAC. And NIAC is one of the most hated organizations by the
National
Iranian
National
opposition around the
National
world.
Yes, National Iranian American Council, which is such a stupid name because the Iranian Americans are hate NIAC. But yeah, go ahead.
Mhm. And anyway, so his brother founded this um organization, and there was this whole controversy around this organization because basically it got exposed in a defamation lawsuit that happened for having links to Javad Zarif. And Trita Parsi in many ways could be framed as being one of the most skilled originators of using progressive politics and language to push pro Islamic Republic narratives within US public policy, foreign policy, and kind of messaging, advocacy, that kind of thing. And so they are hated by the Iranian American community in the US because of their how they are so skilled at twisting the language of progressivism into a message that supports the Islamic Republic. And so there are a lot of campaigns that happen for people who are associated with NIAC, speakers, maybe local politicians, to get their events canceled because they are pushing narratives that often are centered around removing sanctions on the Islamic Republic, um, that will only benefit the regime and not the people. So, for example, NIAC will push a narrative that will say, "Oh, well, our sanctions on the regime punish the Iranian people, not the leaders," so on and so forth, and also mischaracterize a lot of the realities of the sanctions regarding like medicine and stuff. But when I go speak to my friends around the world who are Iranians about this issue of the sanctions, who of them were living in Iran until very recently. They would say, "No, we want more sanctions because the sanctions are the only thing that is identifying the fact that we are being abused so severely." So just to clarify what I'm saying, like, the message that I receive from the many people that I speak to is that, "No, we want the sanctions because the sanctions are the only thing validating that we are experiencing these severe human rights abuses." Does that make sense? It's like,
Right.
and we know that if the sanctions are removed, that we will not benefit, because some of my friends were living very recently, and they're like, during the days of the JCPOA, they're like, "That didn't increase our quality of life at all. No, it just funded their terrorism around the region. So no, sanction the fuck out of them." So this is kind of a clash of narratives. But back to Mr. Parsi here in Sweden. Oh, one more thing about the brother who's in the US. He ended up leaving NIAC and going to found a different institution called the Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft. And I just want to say that so people can keep an eye out for that think tank. Um,
Yeah, because the branding of NIAC has become so damaged that they have to rebrand and rename and come up with other ways to remain influential. Can I just add something about
mhm.
this man's brother, Titra Parsi and NIAC? Is first of all, the books written by him is gospel to a lot of leftist commentators in the United States when it comes to condemning America and Western imperialism. And any leftist in the United States who wants to defend the Iranian regime, they read that man's book and they refer to the. I cannot count the number of times I was listening to a podcast or a YouTube show, and the host of that channel wanted to defend the Iranian regime, and their reference and their evidence for their points to defend the Iranian regime was his books.
Especially
So
Democracy
imagine.
Now.
Yes. So imagine how influential this man, so the Iranian regime got Zarif to get Titra Parsi to go to United States to spread this leftist propaganda. Imagine the Iranian regime's narrative being tried to changed into some leftist progressive narratives. They knew exactly how to rebrand that to get the position of the Islamic Republic to seem like an anti-imperialist position, and that's how they got many leftists in the United States to support the Iranian regime. And that man was the leader of giving all the narratives and all the arguments to make that point on American media. And also beyond him, I so many times I saw on so many channels, and some not even leftist channels, mainstream media and alternative media, when they had an expert, when they wanted to invite an expert on Iranian affairs, I always like even be like, "Oh, and our next guest is this and this, an expert on Iran." I'm like, "Oh my god, let me look this person up. Is this person a NIAC member?" And almost every time I search, I'm like, "Shit, they brought a NIAC person as an expert on Iran." And it's just so infuriating. By the way, the pro Pahlavi Iranians have just recently created a new think tank to basically counter NIAC, and I think its name is Nufti. Um,
Yeah.
Yes, NUF. So we now have a new organization in America to counter NIAC. These are Iranian patriots that are anti-regime and anti-leftist narratives. To counter NIAC, we have a new organization in America called NUFTI, NUFDI, which is, I don't know what it stands for, but I will. It's a
The
nonprofit, nonpartisan.
something something united for a
Uh,
democratic Iran.
National Union for Democracy in Iran. That is the proper organization that should be supported, not NIAC. Nufti is the organization that we support. Anyways, go on. Sorry. Let's go back to
Yeah.
this guy.
Yeah. So, you know, anyways, so let's like give a quick breakdown about what's going on here. So there were all these emails that were leaked and they were exposed by Iran International. And these emails give an insight into Iran's influence campaign efforts and their soft power efforts in Sweden, specifically between 2013 to 2015. This is when the negotiations for the JCPOA or the nuclear talks are happening, right? The nuclear deal. So we're getting an insight into, again, a soft power network that they're trying to create during this crucial time. So here's a quote from an article in Sweden I wanted to read. Quote, email exchanges between officials show that Iran, I should say the Islamic Republic, wanted to create a non-governmental organization. So they wanted to create a charity made up of influential researchers and academics in the West. In the emails, it was described as, quote, one of the most important missions. The mastermind behind the network was top Iranian diplomat Saeed Khatibzadeh. Um, he, along with veteran diplomat Mostafa Zahrani, played a central role in the formation of the network, the email exchanges show. Zahrani served as the link between Foreign Minister Zarif and the experts in the network. So, there's a chain going here. As a member of the Revolutionary Guard Corps and the head of the Foreign Ministry's internal think tank, he is also said to have been influential in supporting the network politically and securing funding. Quote, as you promised, this initiative needs your financial as well as political support. For the first meeting, we need money to cover the costs, including tickets and hotel expenses, Khatibzadeh wrote to Sahrani. So, how did Ruzbe Parsi, who's at the center of this controversy, respond to this? He's responded saying that it is very possible that Iranian decision makers had a motive for the group, but that his purpose in participating was something else. He was saying it was my purpose was to see how these people act here and now, how they reason when they are allowed to publish the text. And this is all translated from Swedish, by the way, so the translation might be a little weird. And then they may become a little bit more careless because it is not a press conference, it is not a press release. Because when you see it in real time, unlike how so basically he's saying he's trying to interface with them in real life, because when it's real life and not on the record, you get a more organic sense of how people think and feel, you know, because it's more off the cuff, it's more spontaneous, it's less inhibited. And so he ended up attending these meetings that happened in Vienna around the time. What And then there were questions about like why he had not informed his employer about his work with this Iranian experts initiative. And he's saying, "Oh, I didn't have an obligation to inform my employer about it at this time." He attended this meeting in a room that was booked by the Iranian Foreign Ministry, according to the documents, which the costs were covered by the Islamic Republic. Um, and he was like, why wouldn't I meet with the foreign ministers of other countries? My job is to figure out how they reason and how they make their decisions, which is all very sensible, but it's just so questionable when taken in whole, especially
Mhm.
considering the activities of his brother, the narratives that they push, how he was recently canceled from speaking at an event because the local Iranian community had so much contention and was felt so disrespected by his presence speaking at the event, you know, and the connections that his brother has, again, that goes back to Javad Zarif. This is
Hmm.
this is
Has,
needs to be taken in a broader whole.
do we know his history, his position on the regime? Like with
Well,
regards to whether he wants the
he's
regime to
very soft on the
be
regime, very soft on
okay.
the
So
Islamic Republic.
so I don't trust any of his excuses then. Okay. Um, I do not trust this. This is very suspicious. Then,
This is
if this
as
is,
an
I would.
example.
Yeah, go on.
As an example, as recently as November 2024, Parsi defended Iran's right to acquire nuclear weapons and claimed that the
Oh,
conflict with
fuck him.
Israel could have been avoided if the country had access to nuclear weapons. Quote, Iran should have acquired nuclear weapons 3 or 4 years ago, he said on a
Fuck.
podcast.
Fuck this guy. This guy. Okay, none of the excuses that he's saying is believable. This guy is very likely a fucking spy in Sweden by the Iranian regime. If
We can't say that.
I said likely, I didn't say 100%. Okay, very likely. Okay, I didn't. But given that he is pro-Iranian regime and that he's being invited to this shit, like, first of all, was he invited or did he invite himself? Did you clarify?
To be part of this network?
Yeah.
He was invited.
Okay, bullshit. His excuses do not at all are not acceptable because the Iranian regime knows who to invite. Okay, if they if you decided to go to this yourself as like, oh, I'm just curious for academic research, maybe some people will be fooled by that. But given that you have been invited, that means that you have been selected as somebody who is sympathetic to the Iranian regime. And I don't know, the Swedish government needs to look into this. Yo, Swedish people in the chat, tell your government to
Well,
look
yeah,
into
and
this.
this is
This is
why
bullshit.
this Iranian Swedish politician, Nima Gholam Alipur, was saying like this person works for an organization that's funded by the Swedish state. Like that's unacceptable.
Yeah, what the fuck? Sweden, what you doing? What you doing? You have
So
people who are spreading working for the Iranian regime's narratives. You're like you not only you welcome them in, you actually pay them with your tax money. What the fuck?
well, we do that too in America, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah. Yes.
So I want people to think about it like this. It is not I'm not going to make the claim that this guy is a spy, that he is working for the regime or any of those things. There can be a difference between someone being literally directed and paid for by a hostile foreign government and someone who essentially works towards their ends because of the convenience of their narrative. I hope
Right.
people understand the distinction.
Wait. Wait. Say that. What do you mean? Wait. Let's go back. What's the distinction again?
Like, you do not have to be literally being paid or literally
Oh,
working for a hostile foreign
yes.
government to be working towards their ends because your
Oh,
work
yes,
and your
yes. You
narrative is convenient to their
exactly.
work.
You're getting paid very indirectly, right? So, for example, a lot of people who are pushing the Iranian regime's narratives, it doesn't mean that somebody is sending them a check or wiring money into their bank account. Okay, sometimes you get paid with credibility, extra attention, invitation to places that other people don't get invited to, and more influence, and that eventually leads to higher pay, right? But you can benefit from spreading the Iranian regime's narrative in other ways than just getting directly paid, right? But it's still a benefit. That makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not even about the fact that you're doing it for a specific benefit. It's like you have to start asking questions when someone's work and narrative is so politically convenient to their cause.
Right.
You know what I
Yes,
mean?
and also yeah, also some of these people are just saying these things because they truly, passionately believe in it. Some
Oh,
of these
sure.
people are just, some of
No, I
these people
actually
are just
believe
like,
that that's
I,
mostly the case.
I don't know what the stat is, but some of these people are just hate America and hate the West and hate the world liberal order so much that they're willing to lose money for it as well. Some of them. But yeah, Amir is saying, unlike Armin that needs his pay from Mossad. Yes, which I'm not getting, by the way. consider me disappointed. It's okay.
Disappointed.
We have enough Zionists who are supporting us financially. Maybe not the Mossad directly. One day.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's go to the next story.
Wait. We forgot to read these
Shoot, you're right.
comments and
Sorry.
then the super chat. So this is just the news, and here's
Yeah.
the comment.
So yeah, this person is saying the people of Iran have consistently sent messages to the world claiming that these two brothers are agents of the Islamic Republic in Iran, but their warnings have always been overlooked. Treated Parsi, his brother, is undoubtedly a strong agent of the Islamic Republic in Iran, and he's tagging Marco Rubio.
Like, a lot of Iranians love Marco Rubio. Like, Mark, you're with us. You're with the Iranian people.
Mr.
Guys,
Rubio, I need you to see this.
Yes, you can. You can see which American politicians Iranian people like. Okay, okay. Look at this comment.
Dude, my hatred for Treated Parsi extends so deep. Like, he's just like open lobbying. Like, it's got to be illegal, man. This person is saying, "We will make Iran great again." MIGA.
Yes,
with
MIGA.
reciprocity.
Yes, we have a new thing. We have a new hashtag in Iran. We have a new people say there's MIGA. They copied the MAGA and turned it to make Iran great again. So, what is this one?
And this is footage of Iranians showing up to a speaking engagement where Ruzbe Parsi was going to speak, and just telling him off. See, this is yeah. Here we go.
That's okay. That's Citra Parsi. So Ruzbe, when he was in Sweden, when he was speaking somewhere, the Iranian people showed up and they said no to his brother, no to NIAC. Let me just play this with the audio a little bit. Let me see. Oh, they're saying Ruzbe B Sharaf. Ruzbe B Sharaf. So Ruzbe is the name of the brother. They're saying Ruzbe without honor. Ruzbe dishonorable. Ruzbe B Sharaf. Ruzbe B Sharaf. Ruzbe. So like this is NIAC, this is Titra. This is both of them. So Ruzbe was in the NIAC as well. So this is both of the brothers sitting next to each other with the NIAC sign symbol behind them. NIAC, shame on you. Okay, and this one is saying what?
Thanks to all those who disgraced NIAC this year.
All these years, yes. Yeah, NIAC is very, very unpopular among
Dude, from
people.
every corner of the earth. It's so funny to me how this like little American like NGO that Americans don't know about is globally hated.
Oh, by the way, Nima is here. Nima is our volunteer
Hey,
from our Iranian team. Okay, so let's do the super chats.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Carl sent a super chat. Thank you, Carl, saying great stream, 5 out of 5. By the way, are there any news on the murder of Salwan Momika? Well, I mean, when he was murdered, we covered that.
Yeah,
when
we
that
did
first
cover
happened.
it. Is there updates?
Do we have any idea about like the identity of his murder or whatever?
If there are updates, maybe we'll do a news on that.
You know, I haven't heard any updates. Yeah, no, besides just when he was murdered in January. But yes, when that happened, we did cover it. Go and look at our live streams in January if you're interested. Oops. Oh shoot, I just unstarred Gajan's super chat. Wait. Oh no.
Go up.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Where is it?
You can scroll up. Here I found it.
Yeah. Gajan, thank you for the super chat, my friend, saying, why do you think Iran is shit at authoritarianism as compared to Vietnam, Singapore, and the People's Republic of China?
So first of all, it's the Iranian regime.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Yes. but let's call it the Iranian regime, not Iran. Okay, let's separate Iran from the regime, right? But I I could tell you the different. First of all, Vietnam is not authoritarian anymore compared to before. Vietnam is becoming more and more capitalistic. But here's the difference between the authoritarianism in by the Iranian regime in Iran compared to other dictators in the world. Whether you're a democracy or you're a dictatorship, it usually is beneficial for you to keep your people as happy as you can, right? Because even if you're not a democracy, it is the best interest of the regime for people to be somewhat satisfied. Any regime, even dictatorial, requires a level of support from its population. Okay, most of the time. The difference is in the Iranian regime, the situation has turned into such a bizarre, insane structure, like that the Iranian regime. If I like one day, maybe I should do a stream on this to tell you why the situation in Iran is that the more miserable and poorer the Iranian people are, the more beneficial this is for the Iranian regime. So, for example, let's just compare Saudi Arabia to Iran. In Saudi, both of them have regimes that are dictators, but the Saudi government actually it will become more stable if the Saudi people are better off, if they get richer, even though it's a dictatorship. However, the IRGC, for example, gets richer and more stable and more powerful if the Iranian people get poorer and become more miserable. So that's why it's such a fucked up situation right now. And I'm not going to go over the details for why that structure, why it turned out like that. Maybe I should do a stream on that. But that's why the regime is constantly trying to make the Iranian people poorer on purpose. Is part of their strategy. It's not just mismanagement. This level of devastation by the Iranian people is not a result of mismanagement. It's actually good management, but in the direction against the Iranian people.
Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.